Vice President Harris, former President Donald Trump, heading into Election Day, locked in an incredibly tight race, the slimmest of margins, no matter if you look nationally or across in the swing states. Scott Tranter is the man behind the numbers, data science director at DDHQ. Hello, Scott. We were emailing late, emailing early. It's election week. Good to have you in. So a lot of talk over the weekend about, my gosh, what's going on in Iowa? Iowa. We haven't talked about Iowa since January. What's your read there, Scott, with this poll that showed Harris +3?
Yeah, and Iowa's not a state I was thinking we were going to talk about the day before the election. Look, Ann Seltzer, who is a phenomenal pollster, excellent track record. She dropped a poll Saturday night that had Harris ahead by 3 points, which is a state that Trump won by 8. Now, I don't necessarily think that Harris is going to win Iowa, but what was surprising in that poll was the gender gap. She showed that Harris is winning women by 20%. That's a margin we haven't seen in any other poll this cycle. Now, if we extrapolate that out to other polls that we saw over this weekend, New York Times dropped some in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. We see the gender gap rising there as well. So that's what's so surprising about it.
All right, so let me take you through some of the polls. Start with Pennsylvania. It was women +9 in PA. In Michigan, again, these are the New York Times polls. Women +17 in Wisconsin. Women +18. So I'm looking, Scott, at anywhere from, I don't know, call it 9 into the mid-teens or so. What does it mean if it runs up that high? But then conversely as well, I mean, you see it with Trump and men.
Yeah, look, she's got a slightly bigger advantage among women than Trump has among men against her. And if we see some of these numbers climb to the high teens, low 20s, kind of like what we just saw in the Seltzer poll in Iowa in these upper Midwestern states, she's got a real shot to win all three. I mean, that is some late breaking movement we don't often see in these types of races, but it's something we saw in 2 separate polls.
The electorate's what? Expected to be 52, 53% women, somewhere around there, or could it be higher?
It could be higher based off this, but yeah, right around 52%, give or take a half a point. But every half a point counts these neck-and-neck races.
Tranter, you look through the numbers nonstop, all day. You've been doing this for weeks into months and really into years and beyond that. Does your radar tell you that there is a late break, or does with women in Harris and perhaps a surge among women in the first election post-Dobbs? Does your radar tell you this might be an outlier, or let's be frank, do we just not know? And we'll find out 48 hours from now, give or take, 24 hours.
You know, this election season has me saying just I don't know the whole time. What I would say is I think the poll's an outlier, but the movement we saw confirmed by the New York Times polls that you just showed up there, I don't necessarily think she's going to have a 20-point gap among women, but I think it's going to inch up some, and that just makes it closer. So my final answer is I just don't know, but the numbers, you know, the numbers are the numbers.
The numbers are indeed the numbers, and he is the man behind them, Scott Tranter, data science director, DDHQ. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.